Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Sorry I shouted a bit there, surprised myself. So today I'm going to be talking to you about face palettes for the face. I've tried to leave out anything that kind of only serves like the one purpose. So all these palettes are multi-functioning palettes that do all kinds of stuff to your cheeks. They can all be used also on the eyes and just very helpful for travel. I love to have things that do lots of different stuff because one, it's really great value for money. Two, it's amazing when it comes to like travel, weekends away, work, trips, holidays, to have everything in one. And also it's just really compact for like your vanity if you don't have a lot of space, if you just have all your makeup in like a small makeup bag or a drawer. To have like a whole face set in one hand is very useful. I love face palettes. I think they're generally great value for money as well. You get a lot of products for a little bit more than like the cost of one product. So yeah, all in all, I'm a huge fan of face palettes, multifunctioning palettes. So I thought I would share with you my absolute favorites. I have six palettes to share with you, and unfortunately some of them are limited edition, but I wanted to share them anyway for varying reasons. Although they may be limited edition, they're either still available now or they are the sort of like palettes that come around again. So I thought they're still worth talking about so that next time they appear, or if you find them somewhere, you can grab them because you know they're good, because we've already talked about them. So kicking off, the palette that I find like the least multifunctional, but I still can use it in different ways and still do use it in different ways, is the Dior Backstage face palette. This is the original one. It's just called the Glow face palette. It's 001 Universal. So there is a new version of this with different shades. It's got more of a peachy shade in there, but this is the original one. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this, but it is extremely battered. I have used this quite a lot. I originally just loved this one in the winter, and now I'm using this goldy shade a lot. It's extremely wet looking, and obviously its main purpose, it's pretty much a highlight palette. But because you've got these bronzy and pinky toned shades, you can also use it on cheeks as like blush toppers. You can also use it on the eyes really nicely. This shade has a bit of a sort of bronzer to it because the more you buff it in, the more it's glowy as opposed to really shimmery, and they are, as you can see, very wet looking. And because it's got all these different tones in there and shades and depths and all of that stuff, it does really help if you are like a makeup artist, or like me, you're wanting to use this shade in the winter and then when you get tan, this doesn't work for you. You've got your other options. I can now mix these two together to use on my cheeks. I can use the lightest one down the bridge of my nose, inner corners like I did today, or I can just stick with the gold on my cheekbones, and it's just really versatile as far as a highlighting palette goes. The packaging is not for everybody. Some people hate it and they think it looks cheap. I love it because it's very thin and travel friendly and easy to store and all of that stuff, and it's plastic, so you don't have to worry about it smashing. But it doesn't have a mirror, which is the one drawback. So that's definitely like the least versatile of the palettes that I'm going to talk about. Next up, another permanent palette, and this is the Charlotte Tilbury Filmstar Bronze and Glow palette. I have both shades of this, but I'm going to talk to you about the lighter shade. So this is the bronzer and this is the highlight. This is very expensive. It's around £50, I think. However, if you think you're getting two very large sized pans and they're £25 each, so £25 for bronzer, £25 for the highlight, that's actually a really good deal for Charlotte Tilbury products. This has lasted me forever. I actually have this in my project pan. I don't think you're going to be able to see, but I feel like I may be hitting pan on this bronzer any day now. There's huge dents in both of these products, and with good reason. So at the moment, like I said, I prefer the deeper palette because you can see that bronzer, you can barely see it on my more tan skin. This palette is so perfect for my winter skin. Those of you who are like an NC 35 or lighter, this will work on anybody with fair to sort of medium skin. The bronzer is the perfect, not too cool, not too warm, natural finish, and the highlight is that very glowy, pretty, doesn't add texture highlight that Charlotte perfects. These shades are also glorious on the eye. It's like the perfect all you need if you're in a hurry, like on a work day, if you're traveling. Bronzer and highlight. Bronzer, you know, to just go in the crease and the shimmer shade on the lid, and that's all you're gonna need. It is just so wearable, so pretty, so soft, so natural. I absolutely love this palette, and you can do literally a whole face with it. I think that's actually one of Charlotte's best products, actually. Next up from MAC, a limited edition palette, the first one. So this is the Shiny Pretty Things Face Compact, and this is the medium deep shade. So this is what it looks like inside. Very deep looking bronzer, but very blendable. If I just show you on there. So I love this bronzer at the moment because it's nice and deep on my tan skin, so it actually does bronze me. All of these are, is it the extra dimension skin finish? So yeah, they're all extra dimension skin finish, so they're all luminous. The blush and the bronzer aren't shimmery or like glittery at all. They are glowy and luminous, and I just love this formula. And this is like a lovely pure gold highlight, so if you have like a medium to deep skin tone, this palette is just everything. So bronzer, blush, highlight, all of these shades are heavenly. As you can see, they kind of get glowier as they go down. So the bronzer is like a sort of natural luminous finish, the blush is a glowy blush, and then obviously the highlight is a proper beaming highlight. None of these shades are like they're permanent shades in a palette. They were all new shades exclusive to this palette. So you may be wondering why I'm showing you this. One, you can still find this in various places, like if you're very lucky. But two, they bring out these face palettes like every year in their Christmas launches. I know in the Nutcracker they had, I think, duos the year before, and then they had these palettes last year, so 2018 Christmas. I'm sure they'll bring out something similar again this year. I think they're incredible, just the perfect size. I love this cute packaging, great mirror, feels very heavy, huge pans. Each one of these pans, I don't know individually, but the whole thing is 14 grams. So if you say each pan is more than 4 grams, that's really good sized product. You can see I got this at Christmas, and you can't even barely see that I've touched it, and I have used it a lot. So I'd really recommend looking out for these types of palettes in MAC's Christmas collections. They're always the highlight for me. They are always really, really great quality, beautiful shades, and I wish they'd just bring them out permanently, for goodness sake. So now to soften the blow a bit, the very permanent, very easy to find Natasha Denona Tan Bronze and Glow palette. One of my all-time favourite things. Not palettes, just things in general, makeup things. Don't want to blind you. I love, excuse me, rude. I love this palette. I feel like if I was not a blogger, if I wasn't like a makeup addict, if I didn't do YouTube, this is everything I need as far as glowy, highlighty type products. It's got a cream highlight, it's got 2 powder highlights, and this gorgeous bronzer. I think it says it's a matte bronzer, but it's quite a natural matte. It's definitely not like a flat matte. It's again perfect for my more tanned skin. As you can see, plenty of pigment in there, very easy to blend out, very wearable. Probably like an NC 30 and above is more suited to this palette, but I have seen this work on people with like NC 20, 25, and you just used a light hand and do really well. I just think it's so versatile. Again, I can see me really using this in the winter, because although I'm like an NC 30, In the winter you can use the bronzer lightly, and you can also use it really nicely on the eyes. As far as the highlights, this is the cream and then the 2 powders. At the moment I mainly use this on my like cheekbones because it's the sort of deeper shade, but I love using the cream on its own for a very natural highlight, and then this one I'll use like down the bridge of my nose, inner corners, brow arch, if I want to like brighten something up on its own. At the moment it's a bit light for me on my cheekbones, but that's why it's so perfect, because it's kind of so versatile, and you can pretty much do anything you want with it. I love the fact that it's got like different intensities, like the cream highlight is very natural and soft and just glowy, lit from within, and then you've got a super glow powder which is just very wet looking, blends beautifully, doesn't add texture, and then you've got that crazy diamond glow, is it diamond glow powder, glow impact powder, that if you want to just be seen from space, you've got all those different options. You can mix and match. I love it. I feel like if if you're trying to consolidate your collection, this is a great palette because it just does so much in such a small little compact, actually really great value for money palette. Next up, another permanent palette from Charlotte Tilbury. This is her Instant Look in a palette, and I've had this for donkey's years. I mean, maybe I've had it for 2 years. It's actually got a 30-month shelf life, so I'm still okay. I'm still good. It is beaten to death, as you will see. So in here, this is all like bronzy shades. At the moment, I can't use this bronzer really, it's much too light. You can see it's actually lighter than my body, but it's a very close shade to the one in the lighter Bronze and Glow palette, if not even lighter. So I'd recommend this. I mean, look, that is lighter than my skin. I would recommend this to sort of fair to medium skin. Look at that highlight. Oh my god. So the idea of this is it is literally your entire makeup bag in one. So these are your eyeshadows, some blushes here, a bronzer and a highlight. The FBI are coming. So the idea of this is it's like everything in one place. You've got a bronzer, a highlight, blushes and eyeshadows, and you can use the blushes on your eyes, you can use these two on your eyes. It is literally all you need. If I ever go on holiday, ever go away, I take this every time, and all of these shades are so easy to use together all over the face. It is just the quickest, easiest palette, can't go wrong, perfect for beginners. So here are the 2 blush shades. I would generally mix them together. Obviously this one's too light for me to use by itself, but I would mix them together and get like a bronzy coral shade. Here are the 3 eyeshadows, and then this is the highlight and then the bronzer, which you can obviously barely see on me currently. But yeah, for fair to like maybe medium skin, this is just, it's so easy, quick, simple, bronzy, goddessy goodness in one place. This palette always surprises me. Whenever I pick it up and use it, I'm always surprised because it is so good, such good quality. Perfect size mirror for travel. Very nice and secure packaging, so you don't have to worry about anything breaking. It is really underrated, in my opinion. It's a great palette. Next up, another annoyingly limited edition. This is the Hourglass Unlocked palette. I wish they would just make this one permanent. I think it's like their most successful palette that I remember, but the reason again I'm mentioning this is they obviously bring out these palettes every year. This to me is the best one I've ever seen for me, because these blush shades were just everything. Again, it's one that at the moment the bronzer is too light for me. You can kind of just about see it, but it's not going to bronze me a whole lot. But I am using these 2 finishing powders a lot. I mean, I don't know why I'm swatching them. You won't be able to see them because they are like finishing powders, so they're not designed to necessarily have pigment. The blushes are right up my street. Very Hourglass, very glowy blushes. I think they're like plummy one, yeah, is more of a matte. So you've kind of got something, you've got a matte blush, a more glowy blush, you've got your 2 finishing powders. I mix these together at the moment, but obviously in the winter I might just use this one on its own. And then a most heavenly highlight, I mean, look at it, just glorious. And I can still use this highlight now. It's absolutely fine on my more tan skin. It's just a beautiful palette. The pans, I know some people struggle to get their brushes in there, but I don't use giant huge brushes and I don't have an issue really, given that the way it's laid out. Obviously you can mix the blushes together, you can mix these together, and the bronzer you can kind of, you know, if you're scared about your brush going into the highlight, you can just kind of do it this way and it's only going to mix with the finishing powder. So for me, the way it's laid out, it helps you if your brush is going to accidentally go off to the side. But again, because it's only 2 rows, you can also kind of angle your brush down towards either the mirror or the base of the palette. So I don't have any issues with it. Again, great size mirror, great size palette, just glorious, beautiful, luxurious packaging. It is very expensive, so you need to know you're going to use everything in there, which is why this is my first one that I've bought, because previously either the blushes or the bronzers, I thought I won't use those, they're not my shades. Whereas when I saw this one, I was like, that's it, that's my palette. Obviously they will bring out another one of these probably around September, October time, and it will sell out fast. So if you want it, if it looks good to you, if it looks like it's your palette, your shades, you have to be quick, people. Don't hang about, because they don't hang about. If it's a good palette, one that lots of people will like, it's gone before Christmas. And lastly, but by no means leastly, possibly my favourite of all of these, of course, it's the Charlotte Tilbury Glowgasm face palette, and this is the shade Lovegasm, which is the darker palette. I mean, just look at this. I have a whole review of this if you want to see it all on the face. This is, like, again, one of my favourite products of all time. Forget a face palette. One of my favourite products of all time. I love every single thing in here. Look at that bronzer. This is my favourite bronzer probably of all time. The blushes, excuse me, how dare you. I mean, look, just, if you like to glow like I do, this palette is life. I know it says it's limited edition, but it's still available everywhere, and I think it will be for some time. I'd be very surprised if these did not get made permanent, because they are just amazing, and I feel like they have to be made permanent because they're just perfection. Here you can see up close this just perfect bronzer, very buildable formula. If you want to shove like a huge amount of pigment onto your cheek, this isn't going to work for you, this bronzer, because it is a very buildable formula. It starts off just with a kiss of warmth and glow to the skin, and you can build it up as much as you want. Perfect for my sort of medium tan skin. 2 very glowy blushes, a sort of coppery and a more peachy shade, and then this heavenly wet glowy, no adding texture highlight. I am obsessed with this whole palette. Again, it works perfectly on the eyes and the cheeks. Does everything you need, perfect size, very secure, safe, protective packaging, great size mirror. I am obsessed with this. It is just heaven. I love mixing the 2 blushes together. The bronzer is sickening. If you don't already have this, if you want to try something from Charlotte Tilbury, this would be like my #1 product. I think so. I can't think of anything I love more. It's one of my all-time favourites in my collection. I'm obsessed. So there you have it. Those are my all-time absolute favourite, bestest face palettes. Face palettes are one of my all-time favourite things. I think past like foundation, maybe mascara. It's hard, because face palettes are much more exciting, I feel like, than foundation or mascara. But you know, I can't live a day without foundation. Face palettes for me, they just do it, they do it for me. They excite me, they float my boat. I think they're great value for money. Generally, they're a great way to try multiple products from a brand, like especially like the Hourglass one. I don't think I had anything from Hourglass when I bought that palette. So now I've got to try their bronzer, their blush and their highlight and their finishing powder formula all in one. I know that especially the Hourglass palette is not great like economically, if you see what I mean, because the pans are very small, so it's cheaper to buy, you get more product to buy individuals, if you see what I mean, per the pound. So gram to pound, it isn't a great deal, but to me, it's much better deal to be able to buy 6 of their products for, I think, £70. Whereas obviously that would cost you like, I don't know, £200 if you were to buy 6 individuals. So yeah, and I just love to have it all in one place, travel friendly, you know, stick it on your vanity and you just open it and you've only got one thing to grab for in the morning. So yeah, that's kind of, it depends whether it works for you and how you do your makeup or not, but for me, I think they're great value for money, a great way to try multiple products and formulas from a brand and have all your makeup in the palm of your hand. Am I a poet? I hope you found this video helpful. Please hit us up with your favourite face palettes in the comments down below. I would love to know. I have the like Becca Malika one potentially on my list. I haven't pushed the button on it yet, but it is floating around there. I hear a lot of people loving that, but what are you guys loving? Please let me know in the comments down below. I would love to see you in a future video. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye.